Okay, well, thank you guys so much. I know this has been a long day. We've had some amazing sessions. So really excited to have Lockie and Richard with us. So before we get started, Lockie and Richard, can you do a quick intro on what Rich Hair is and what Nextcom is and kind of how you guys are seeing the retail space?
Absolutely. Rich Hair Care is a brand that was started in the early 1990s. I actually purchased the America's rights of Rich Hair Care about a month ago, which is super exciting. But the company is focused on clean hair products. You're probably aware that in Europe, all products are clean. That is an American concept because, unfortunately, our products that are sold here have toxins and other ingredients, which, of course, are not good for us. And so I saw a need for more clean hair care products here in America. Very excited because we're continuing the mission. So I love the last panel and the conversation. The company was started by a mother and a father who then passed the business on to their twin sons. And they wanted to bring democratized, sustainable ingredients at a very affordable price. They felt that to put a very high price point on good quality ingredients was antithetical to who they are, and we're planning to continue that trend in America.
That's amazing. I love that. Absolutely. If you're going to be sustainable, you also have to be accessible.
Exactly.
That's great. And Richard?
So I actually work for the United States Navy. The Navy Exchange Service Command, we are a command that serves our military members, dependents, retirees, and we have, I have two different responsibilities. As Chief Merchandising Officer, I lead the buying, planning, e-commerce team for the retail division. It's about $1.7 billion. We carry everything from Apple computers to Levi jeans to Blue Buffalo dog food. We can talk after this. And we have stores that range from 200 square feet to 200,000 square feet. And then I'm the Chief Marketing Officer for the command, so not just the retail, but also food, fuel, services, our hospitality division, which has about 18,000 rooms, and then also command services, which includes uniforms and supporting our ship stores. For those wondering why the Navy has a chain of retail stores, if you're on a ship back in the late 1800s and you wanted to purchase something, you had very little luck. These entrepreneurs and bumboats would come alongside the ship and sell you second-rate goods at a high markup. And a ship's captain, the USS Indiana, opened up a small canteen, a small closet within the ship, carried goods, sold it at a small profit, saved the sailors money. It was convenient, and any money left went to morale, which is what we do today. Any guess what the first product was?
Jackets.
Beer.
Yeah. I mean, that makes complete sense, but I figured that was something that was just supplied at this point.
Yeah, it was beer.
Okay, so we're talking about the expectations in retail. So I would assume for Richard, for your shops, there's a very high expectation of quality when they're coming in at this point.
There is. The common thread that we have is that you have to serve or have served or you've been connected to the military. But that's the only common thread. We have those that will buy the least expensive item they can find. The quick story is last year, the least expensive item that I sold was a 30-cent postcard. The most expensive was about an $80,000 diamond ring. And we treat each equally. One's a note home to mom, one's a lifetime commitment. So when they come in, they're expecting a value, they're expecting a little bit of a higher level service, but value is one of those things that means something very different to different customers. And so that's something right now that we're trying to dissect.
That's great. So for Rich Hair, are you guys in large retail, or what is your retail experience like?
Yeah, so globally, the brand is absolutely in large retail, big box. In Europe, as you are aware, distributors, hypermarkets, that's really where the products are sold. And also in their fabulous pharmacies. I wish that were something we had in the United States. But in the US, as I'm repositioning the brand, in 2018, it was offered in all the majors, Walmart, Target. We're looking at that to restart. But obviously, from a direct-to-consumer perspective, what we find, American consumers who are part of the clean movement or who care about ingredients, they actually want to read about the ingredients. They want to understand the product. So it turned out to be that our online channels were where we were originating a lot of our new customer acquisition. Obviously, SEO, all the things that we can do online to target those consumers became very important. So So we think in this new incarnation of Rich Hair Care in America, it will be a primarily direct-to-consumer brand. And because of our price point, like we are 30 to 40% cheaper than the next alternative at the same level of ingredients. So we're finding that our products turn quite quickly.
Yes.
So staying up on that demand and finding opportunities to, again, honor our original thesis of providing sustainable products at an affordable price, but recognizing there's a price differential, and what basic economies of scale and economics show, there will be a competitor who will come in and find that price right above ours. So we're really thinking through exciting opportunities to find new product categories, new issue areas that people have, and create new products at potentially a slightly higher price point, but that can solve specific pain points that customers have.
That's fantastic. So I know one of the big conversations that's happened a lot today is around data-driven, AI, all the new tech that is out, and how we can utilize that technology to both improve our online experiences, which is going to be really important, but in that retail landscape. Richard, is that something that you guys have been employing, is kind of measuring that data in AI, or is that something that kind of hasn't crossed the threshold yet?
It's on the horizon.
Okay.
We're in the process of replatforming. It will obviously involve a level of AI. Being part of the federal government, obviously there is there's a certain tendency to want to lean forward, and there's also a strong hesitance depending on what it is. So what we're focused on now is using AI in smaller use cases, content development and other things, and trying to get the culture used to it. We were just talking earlier that if the culture is not going to adopt it, then you're going to run up against a buzzsaw that's going to put you behind the curve. So right now, we're looking forward. We see it as part of the future. We're starting to incorporate it, but we're not there yet.
Makes complete sense, especially I would assume with the variations in age from those who are new into the military, and then you have retirees, very different technological advancements there.
Yes, but I would say that one of the things that I've learned as a marketer is that there's certain generalizations you can make about generations, but we try hard not to stereotype them too much. Okay. I mean, 50% of the active duty population is Gen Z, which makes us a great target for direct-to-consumer brands. That's my pitch. But they don't all behave the same. And I think that's one of the things that's happening in marketing today is you used to be able to predict with a little bit more precision how a group was going to behave. And today, it's hard to predict how the individual is going to behave. It's hard for you to determine right now whether I'm going to, turn left or turn right. So it makes agility and being able to react that much more important.
Love that perspective. Thank you. And for you guys, Lockie, how are you guys looking at AI and data?
Yeah, I love what you said, Richard. And I think the fact that we can't generalize as we used to be able to do in the past and do it pretty successfully, we have embraced AI for that very same reason. We have, since we've been in business, we have a significant supply chain advantage. We actually have scientists that are based in Western Europe. We have factories all around the world with deep supply chains and roots into ingredients. And with that, there are a lot of products that we've created. And probably similar to what Suraj and Deepak were saying earlier, there's an opportunity for us to match that demand with the individual consumers who are desiring it. They may not know who we are, so the discovery process that we're able to leverage through building AI models, building out personas, and segmentation may get us to the point where we're identifying actual human beings who need our product who didn't know that they needed it. And I think that is the big unlock and this is why I was so excited to purchase the company, is because we have this really amazing canvas of products, but we haven't matched it to the consumer bases yet. And with AI, from a marketing perspective, we can cost effectively tell those stories. It will take time. We will have to build it out, but we're excited to leverage that opportunity since we have the products. It's just a matter of finding the audiences, and then from an imagery, people want to see themselves on the product or in the marketing. They want to know that it's effective for their particular concerns, and we're leveraging AI to help us do that cost effectively.
That's amazing. So speaking of your different consumer bases, so obviously with Nextcom, you guys have products, as you said, that range from postcards to diamond rings. So your audience is literally anyone who is able to purchase from you guys, correct?
Connected to the military,
Connected to the
yes.
military. So when you're looking at that, when you're looking at which brands to bring in and how to work with brands and what is your strategy for approaching kind of that consumer and saying this makes sense as a product category for us to keep?
So I'll approach it from an angle, and if I approach it from the wrong angle, just redirect me.
Totally fine.
One of the things that we've been working on over the last 3 or 4 years is really differentiating ourselves from the typical mass merchant or department store. We're going to carry a lot of the same brands that others will. We have our private brands. We've established direct relationships with Toys R Us, Home Depot, Vitamin Shop, and then we have started to go into direct-to-consumer brands because we have 3 locations that do 20% of our volume. The reason I kind of laid out that landscape is that with as wide a span of demographics from an age and an income perspective and geographics, what we want to be able to do is to present them with a wide range of options and then be able to read and react when they link on something that they love. We might try a direct-to-consumer brand or a smaller emerging brand. It might take, it might not. If it takes, we want to react to it. But we always want to be able to change that up and not look like the same old store where our value proposition is just we're a little bit less, because you can't always depend on that today.
That's exactly kind of where I was going with that, is you have to be able to bring in new brands, get people excited. Same thing you were talking about, bring in new products, test new products. But what does that test window look like? I mean, how long do you give a product or a category that you're willing to test and play with?
It depends, and that's one of the things that if you know anything about merchandising and marketing, they are not co-located. So I spend a lot of time debating with myself. The marketing side of me is limited in what we can contract and how quickly, but the merchandising side, we can move pretty quickly on testing brands. It really is, can we put it in a store with messaging in a way that the customer is going to be able to see. We've seen a lot of things fail, not because it wasn't a great product, but because we didn't have the story behind it, the signage, the training, whatever else was needed. So we've done everything from give it a year or position it with other products to putting it. Now we're looking at doing it in kind of pop-up shop locations where we curate a grouping of brands and launch them in a special space for a certain event. So we're trying to develop that flexibility to be able to test and learn much more agilely.
I love that. You're right. As everybody's talked about today, it's all about the storytelling and what the brand says and what the products stand behind. For you guys, how are you looking at bringing in, you said there's a wide variety of products in Europe, but what's going to take precedence here? How is that getting selected?
Yeah, we're going to let our communities lead us. Some of our key stakeholders, naturally, since we are a salon quality product, are barbers and stylists. And as we go from city to city, and we have 7 cities that we've identified where we're really going to put the focus, it is actually very well organized. There are associations of barbers and stylists, and obviously they have continuing education. So finding these groups and befriending them, which is what we've been doing since we launched in the U.S., has been an important way for us to have ties to the community, not only to them, but to their end consumers, who become our end consumers. And as we do that, we develop products that people have. In the African American culture, there is a high incidence of alopecia, and it really just started over the last 10 years. We, of course, are not here to make claims that we can cure alopecia, but our products, because they are natural, at least don't provide the level of abrasiveness that some of the American-made products do, and potentially are causing these incidences of alopecia in this community. And so since hairstylists are the first place that women and it's mostly women who have this issue are going, we started to develop products specifically for those stylists, where they're saying we need more of the growth hormones that are in certain sustainable ingredients. We want to we envision a North Star of potentially having a subscription service where a particular stylist can tell us specific ingredients that they'd like to include for their clients. It can be sent directly to them. It could be sent to the actual end consumer as their maintenance product. But we believe in the science of it, because all of it has been proven, because they're actually mixing these things themselves. And so we want to do it in a more safe environment, one that obviously the FDA will approve, But ultimately, it's for us a service that we're giving to this community. While we will, of course, have regular products that are sold on the shelves, what we're finding is more demand, actually. Some people just like the scent of a particular product, and they want to subscribe to that product. So it is really amazing when you start to think of how AI and ML can help us build these products, but we're always going to be community first. They will tell us where we want to go.
That's fantastic. I absolutely love it. So I know we're getting close on time, but last question that I wanted to kind of ask you guys, and then we'll open the floor, is where do you see the retail expectation from a consumer? What is the expectation that a consumer is going to begin having walking into that retail experience looking at a brand? I know I'm opening a can of worms right here, but
it is very difficult right now. I don't know. I'm in an urban area. If you go into any drugstore, you can't touch the product. It is behind locked doors. So for those customers who care about the ingredients and they actually have issues and want to read it, it's not possible. So you have to go online.
And they would have had to done the pre-work to know what they're coming into.
Exactly. And so I think the retail experience is really lacking at this point for consumers who care about ingredients, and all of the research is showing Gen Z absolutely cares about these things. They know more than their parents about the products that they're using. And so I think online will have that advantage, but we as retailers really need to start thinking about the signage, about ways to communicate our preferences or our potential sustainable advantage that we have over others in a small space, but to do it effectively and not against the FDA, right? That's going to be very hard.
Makes complete sense. Richard?
In 30 seconds or less,
yes.
I think retail's at a crossroads.
Okay.
And I think stale retail's dead. I think the consumer is naturally going to buy less. I think some of it has to do with economics, but I think some of it also has to do with this, and you're seeing it in Europe and you're seeing it in Asia now, this wear down of having to have the brand or the product that the person next door did, this 1960s admin type of thing. And I think the retailers that are going to survive now, and it's not just retailers, it's going to be hospitality companies, it's going to be new places where you can buy, are ones that have to be very agile. They have to be ones that allow the customer to come in. You said something that I love, that the customer, bless you, you said that the customer wants to see themselves in what it is. I think the customer wants to discover it. I'll give you a real quick analogy. A couple of years ago at NRF, everyone was talking about self-checkouts. And halfway through, I swear everybody's press person was calling CEOs saying, stop talking about self-checkouts and the reduction of labor because people are really getting upset. And you could see it swing. When you walk into a store, it could be self-checkout, it could be full service, we're testing tablets where somebody can come up and help you. Customers want that choice. They want to be able to come in. They don't want you to have predicted it. They want you to be able to react to it, because some days I want to go through and not be talked to. I'm not feeling people-y. And some days I want someone to fawn attention on me, and you don't know when, but you better be there and be able to take care of me when I decide.
Yeah, there's some great retailers that now have those baskets that you pick a color when you walk in. So if you're walking around and you have the blue basket, it means somebody can come and talk to you. If you have the black one, it means I know what I'm getting, leave me alone.
That was a retailer that went to a Brazilian steakhouse and thought, that's a good idea.
Exactly. Okay, well, I know we're out of time. Is there any questions for either of our panelists?
Yeah. I don't know if this is a question, but I'm sitting here listening to both of you, experts in your field, experts in merchandising and retail. How does that word retail change 2 years from now? Is it like?
Yes. Can I take this one?
Go for it.
I would too. Smart choice. So I believe retail is a dead term. I think e-commerce is a dead term. Now, I say that teaching a course called Retail and E-commerce. And so one of the things, my side gig. And so one of the things I'm pitching on changing it to global commerce in a modern age. I think transformation gets tied too much to digital. Transformation could be cultural transformation. I think the notion of retail is a dead word. I think you have to look at it as commerce. You have to look at direct to consumer. You have to look at what TikTok's doing. You have to look at what hospitality companies are doing. So I do think that we're going through it. I think the only reason we haven't changed yet is because of this cultural attachment to the word retail. That's my daring prediction.
Just to kind of like add on, I think one of the most, how do you plan for it, right? Because brands have become viral. It is social driven. One person likes it and it goes to the right people, it will explode. One person has a negative experience, it will completely drop. And that's out of your control. But it is literally caused the rise and fall of so many brands right now because social media in that world has turned into people's source of truth. Right? That's where they're getting their news, that's where they're getting their products. How do you plan for that with these explosions of ups and downs in retail? Right? Because it's evolving.
Yeah, from a content perspective, and this is where I actually think AI can be helpful, you have to control your own narrative, right? Many of those brands that were caught flat-footed because the consumer psyche turned against them for whatever reason, they didn't have an ability to get out there and to counter it. But if you come with a fulsome strategy, knowing that this is exactly where the world is going, forget that, it's where the world already is, and you're just behind the curve. So I think all these different forms of selling, we need to embrace it. We need to figure out how, despite the complexity, to get out there and to make sure our story is being told so that when it happens, we not only know about it, we can have other messaging that we can counter with it so that we're not left to the whims of potentially even fake news, which many brands have suffered because someone had inaccurate information.
Yeah, I would say I agree with you to a point. I think social media viral trends can take down or can lift up a brand, and it maybe isn't it shouldn't have happened in either way. But I do think you can't control it, but you can influence it. And I think that the other big thing is that brands, Gen Z is showing less of an affinity to brands, but more of an attachment to communities. And the stronger your community is, and I'll give you the very quick anecdote, about 4 or 5 years ago, we had a massive failure on our site the night before Thanksgiving, real good time. And we're a small group, we're watching social media and we're getting bashed. And my social media marketing person at the time put a cat meme, the one of the typing, and said, our IT team working as fast as they can. And as her boss's boss, I'm sitting there about to take it down going, oh crap, that was just wrong. And I watched our community take over and say, hey guys, give these people a break, because they saw the humanity in it and they said, just back off, it's going to be up. And so I think the more that we strengthen the community and the more authentic it is, because some communities are not all that authentic, I think you can buffer it. And yeah, fake news and things will still take it down, but I think that's what we have to strive for, is those authentic connections.
It was a really great question. And I think, what we've got out of today is, number one, is agility. I mean, we've heard that all throughout today, but I think for your guys' point, everything that we've talked about is our retail word is changing, our consumer is changing, what they expect is changing. But if you have the strong community, it doesn't matter whether you're a smaller brand or a larger brand, you're going to be able to kind of conquer that next step. Awesome. Thank you guys so much. Really appreciate it.